This week, we're pumped to welcome on from Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and a member of the 1994 Stanley Cup champion New York Rangers, Nick Kypreos. Kipper, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, Johnny. How are you? Cody, great to be on with you guys as we get down to the final stretch of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, we're good. I understand you were just at a charity event. Do you want to touch on that really quick? Or
Well, you know what? Short of, the Toronto area, man, you could do one every day, but you kind of just pick and choose a few things. So I took the morning off. I helped a good buddy out in Durham, Ontario. He got together with a few friends, raised a little bit of money. It's all good, but you try to give back when you can. And today was one of those instances.
Yeah,
awesome.
Definitely love that. And our Rangers had a great run this year. So, they were fun to watch for sure. I wanted to ask you, watching this team throughout the year, do you see any type of similarities between the 94 Rangers core and this Rangers core?
Well, I think, there aren't that many off the top of my head. All I do remember is before I even got traded to the Rangers in '93, how the New York Rangers were just going to go for it. And they made this commitment to go get one of the best leaders in all of sport, Mark Messier. And there was going to be no cost restrictions on what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. So we do know that they went out and they accumulated a ton of talent. And if you go back to '94 and you do the payroll on that team, it's probably more expensive than the 2022. They spent a ton of money, but they didn't care because we all know that the demon that they were fighting against, was 1940. Mm-hmm. So,
right.
In saying that, this has a different feel, and it has to have a different feel. You have to build through the system. There are no Mark Messiers to trade for. There are no Steve Larmers out there that can come in and solidify a top six. There's no Nick Kypreos at the time. I was one of the better paid fourth liners in the National Hockey League. You just can't go out there and accumulate these type. You got to build it through a system, and you got to be very selective. You got to hope your draft picks turn out. And then when you have your top talent, you lock them in like a Fox, like a Chris Kreider, and now a Zibanejad. So in many ways, the similarities lie in the fact that you got a great goaltender. Mm-hmm. We had Richter, Shesterkin, we had Leach. They've got Adam Fox. And yes, Zibanejad can turn into a good leader one day, but is he ready to be a Mark Messier? I don't think he is just yet. But then again, who is, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point for sure. And I'm laughing what you said about well-paid fourth liner, because I feel like Barclay Goodrow is a modern day Nick Kypreos over there. So.
Well, the good news is Barclay's been there in terms of winning a championship, and we're watching the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we can't find two guys that can bring in Stanley Cup experience. And when you've got a guy like Goodrow that can come in off his great runs in Tampa Bay and provide leadership like that, it goes a long way. So
absolutely,
I think the Rangers are doing it the right way. There's no question that the kids have made great strides, and we saw at times Lafreniere's line with Kakko,
the kid line.
The kid line, often their best line. Now it's a double-edged sword. You don't want them to be your best line, because that means that there's three other lines that aren't, doing their share of work.
Right.
But the good signs are that these guys are talented guys and they're ready to go to the next level, and that will just enhance Zibanejad and Panair and Kreider next season.
So we're going on 28 years now since the 1994 Stanley Cup. Each year, does it get more bittersweet that you were able to do it in a city like New York? Or are you just dying for this to happen and see the Cup party in New York City in the modern day? Because we've talked before, and I know you did some partying in your day in '94 with the Cup, but I have to imagine it's almost more appreciative as time goes on.
It is more appreciative, but it's like it's the chicken and the egg. You can't take yourself emotionally to somewhere. It's almost like you're cheating, right? You just gotta worry about the next game. Don't worry about the parade. Don't worry about the accolades. Don't worry about earning your next contract. Just win the game you're supposed to win. And unfortunately, the Rangers, off to a terrific start against Tampa Bay, either didn't have the experience or the wherewithal to close that series out after going up 2-0. And I'm not here to suggest to you that they got a little ahead of themselves, but you emotionally, you got to stay in the moment.
Right.
You can't go too far ahead. And I got traded to the Rangers, and within, like, it seemed like 10 minutes, I couldn't walk down Fifth Avenue with people going, "Hey, welcome to the team, but please
win the cup."
Win the cup. I've waited so long. My dad's waited so long. My grandpa's waited so long. And so there's constant reminders for us that it had been 54 years. So, is that added pressure? Yeah, maybe not. It all depends on who you are as an individual. But it is what it is. But all that mattered to us was just the next game. And then you look around, you're like, oh my God, we won our last game of the season. That means we're Stanley Cup champions. Okay, now we can think about partying.
Well, to piggyback on that a little bit, Cody and I have kind of taken the perspective of, we're not so upset they lost to Tampa because they probably didn't really stand a good chance against Colorado. And people have come at us with like, that's a loser mentality, but it's not. It's a realistic expectation. I mean, I don't think anyone really expected them to get to Game 6 of the conference final this year. So as a player and a former player who went through it, who knows how much time it actually takes to be successful and get to the top of that mountain, what is your mindset this season if you played Colorado in the Stanley Cup final and lost in 5 games? You're probably going into the summer like, holy shit, man, like what could we do to beat that team? I feel like it's better for them that they didn't face that.
Listen, it's a really, Johnny, when it comes to that sort of mentality, you can justify anything you want and turn it into a positive or a negative, for sure. And I would hope that the Ranger players would have your kind of mindset, because it is a healthy one. There's nothing wrong with thinking that way. But this sport has a funny way of working out, the energy and where you move from year to year. And Montreal Canadiens, like, come on.
Right.
Is that not a prime example of a team that just barely gets in, goes to a final, and then the following year has one of the worst seasons ever? So you don't really know. It's a beast. It's got an energy of its own, and you just hope that when you find the tide, or you find the rhythm, that you can take it for a ride. But you never take anything for granted here in the National Hockey League. Teams are too tight. And then the discrepancy in the salaries, the cap, everybody's kind of built the same way, where you've got maybe 30 or 40 million in 5 guys, and then you've got the rest of your salary in your third and fourth line guys, or your second pairing D, and you just roll the dice. No guarantees that the Rangers will get to a conference final next year, but you hope that you believe in your process and you're going about it the right way. And you start next season, you can stay healthy. Shesterkin can go and play another 55, 60 games and be the star that he is, and you give yourself the best opportunity. But I think the Montreal Canadiens are a prime example, just not for the Rangers, but any other team in the league, that you don't take anything for granted.
Right. Well, Kipper, I don't want to let you off the hook so easily. So going back to partying, can you tell us one crazy story that maybe happened throughout your career that maybe most fans haven't heard? It doesn't even need to be during the Cup year. It could be at any point during your 8-year career.
Well, there's just not too many things that we didn't end up doing, in New York City, from at the time, the MTV Beach House, where all the models got pissed off because the Stanley Cup was getting more attention than they were. Yankee Stadium, spending the whole day there, and wanting to get out of the locker room so they could get ready for the big game, because us as hockey players, an hour and a half before the game, the music shuts off, and then we're like stone faced, right? Like you're barely cracking a smile. Everything's about the seriousness of puck drop, and those guys are asking us to stay an hour before their first pitch for a big buffet, and then they were going to play kangaroo court.
Kangaroo court, that's great.
Yeah, and we're playing kangaroo court with the New York Yankees.
That's sick, actually. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, other than that, I saw the anniversary of a Boston Bruins Stanley Cup bill that ran about $150,000. Did you see that one?
Yeah, there was like one Amstel Light on that check or something like that.
I'm telling you, I was one of the last people to leave a party about a week after we won the cup. And there was a manager that tried to give me at the time about a $65,000 bill. And I'm like, do you know how much I make on the New York Rangers? I'm one of the lowest paid guys. And I didn't order all this champagne, and I didn't order all these, these entrees and shots. And I'm like, you might have to send this one to Madison Square Garden.
Call up Neil Smith. He'll take care of it.
Or Mark Messier, Neil Smith. I think at that certain time, a Paramount company, of course, the big entertainment company. I'm like, send them the bill, but little old me, I'm not getting stuck with $55,000. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious. I wouldn't want to be that guy either. Definitely.
That's
not.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of crunched on time, so maybe like one more each if you're cool with that, Kipper.
Oh yeah. We're good. We got another 5 or 10 minutes for sure.
All right, cool. So is there one guy in the NHL right now who you would have loved to have as a teammate, and then also one guy you would have loved to play against?
Play against is a tough
maybe
one.
Beat up a little bit.
Well, listen, I'm not sure if Ranger fans will be happy with me, but I look at a guy on Washington, Tom Wilson, and I'd love to play with him, but I'd also be challenged to find a way to get in his face too. So maybe it's the same guy on two different sides, but there are not that many Tom Wilsons out there every once in a while. And yes, he can be a bully for the Washington Capitals, but myself, Joey Kosher at the time, Mike Hartman, our roles with the Rangers during our cup years was to every once in a while stand up to the bully or find a way to throw him off his game, or just get him not thinking about bothering the star players like Leach or Panarin, and that was the role. And if you really think about where the Rangers have come full circle, including getting Gerard Gallant as a head coach, think about that episode against Tom Wilson a year ago, and where they are today, and how tough they are, and how Trouba's gone from one of these players. Like, why is he making $8 million a year, and what does he really do, and what is he really good at? And now you're looking at Trouba going, okay, one of the best open ice body checkers out there, a great leader, a stand-up guy, a top 4 guy, a shutdown guy. Think about the progression that the Rangers have made with that whole, standing up to Tom Wilsons of the world. So that's to me a sign of a real team. When you can find ways to, and Ryan Reeves has come in and gave him so much attitude, and sometimes you hear I can't skate anymore, or he's no good. I'm like, no. That guy's paid to give your team attitude. That's the number one reason why you signed Ryan Reeves, and he has delivered on that.
And a lot of that can be attributed and, credited to Chris Drury. I mean, he really transformed this team really well, and
culture.
That's GM of the year, Chris Drury, actually. So
he didn't win.
No, didn't he win?
No, he's up. They haven't announced it yet. They're going to announce it.
Man. I just saw a notification yesterday when I was watching the Yankee game after Shesterkin got announced.
He's one of 3 guys still, and for whatever reason, they're waiting to announce it. It's like, to me, it's a little goofy, but he certainly got a good chance to win that award. And he's coming in his first year, big challenges, and for the most part. You know, you look at the moves, especially with the depth. You know, we'll see what happens with Andrew Kopp, whether he remains a New York Ranger or not. But
big question.
You know, big question. But certainly those moves help them get the depth to go to a conference final. That's for sure.
Kipper, we're good friends with Avery Zaretsky, who you might have met a couple weeks ago. And, you know, you have that iconic photo with the cup and his family in the background with the "Now I Can Die in Peace" sign at Game 7 in '94. How cool was it, like, meeting them and like hearing their story? Because that's such a cool, like, you know, come together kind of moment that, like, you know, obviously the hockey community can like just like love. It's a really cool story.
Yeah. And Johnny, you know what made it more special was that we just ended up kind of bumping into each other on the Friday night after Game 2. And, you know, the first thing one of the sons does is shows me his screensaver, and it's me.
That's sick.
You know, in the background, holding up the cup with his dad. You know, right there, and
you look emotional talking about it. Honestly,
I am. I still am, because it's such an amazing. You know, it's amazing for me to be a small part in such
an
iconic photo. That is your 1994.
That's the photo.
And I just remember when we won the cup, you know, of course I'm looking for my dad who was there, my sister, but I'm also looking for that sign. And the first thing I said is like, you know, this cup belongs to you. So now you and your fellow New Yorkers can all die in peace. This was my first pull, you know, not even my family, to be quite honest with you, because, you know, I mean, my family, we're so grateful for being a part of it, but it pales in comparison to what, you know, the families, the Ranger season ticket holders, you know, they've all felt over the last, you know, 40 plus years, 54 years waiting for this trophy. And it was just like, yeah, man, this cup is as much as yours as it is ours.
That's so sick. You got to tell that story to the Rangers before the playoff game.
Yeah, they know it. You know what's crazy too, Johnny, is that, like, you know, when we won the cup, we knew how long it was since the last Ranger team, but we didn't know any of the players. We didn't know any of their stories. We didn't know any of the, you know, the history, right? Yeah. We just knew of a couple of pictures of them hanging on the wall. Now, you know, the team this year, and moving forward, it's all well documented, right? The Mark Messier guaranteed, you know, the Brian Leetch winning the first Conn Smythe for an American in history. You know everything you need to know about Stephen Matteau. I mean, there's so much history at their fingerprints now, thanks to, you know, this technology and all of that. But I'm not sure it's a good thing or not. Maybe if they knew nothing about our 1994 run, maybe they'd feel a little less pressure. I don't know. But regardless, it is what it is, and they're going to have to kind of deal with that moving forward. But still great after 28 years to go back to Madison Square Garden like I did in Game 1 and Game 2, and have people acknowledge that they still feel that championship. They're still proud of that championship. And, you know, if the younger generation weren't around for it, they certainly know everything they need to know about it because of their parents,
it's like us,
grandparents.
We're dying for it.
Born in '96, so
I know,
2 years.
Yeah, and I'm 93, so I was like 3 years old at the time, 2 years old. So
1 year old, you were born.
No. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I'm January. I'm January.
You got a taste of it going to a conference final, so just wait for the real thing. It'll be outstanding. And I would never disrespect anybody's championship, but, you know, there's a difference between winning a Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay and Carolina and New York City.
Right. For sure.
Right.
Sure.
Right there with you.
But Kipper, we want to thank you so much. And before we do let you go, I know you also have your own alcohol now, right?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
Plug that. Plug away.
I do. It's called Little Buddha. My wife and I had started a cocktail company. we just signed a deal to bring it. We're going to soft launch it in the U.S. In the Washington D.C. area.
Are you sponsoring Ranger shows?
Not yet, but we're working on that.
I'll DM you my address.
we would love to bring it to New York City as soon as we can. But it's all organic, no preservatives, no sugar, and keto friendly. All the better for you components of a drink. It's at 4% alcohol, under 90 calories. So and it tastes fantastic.
Yeah, definitely got to try that. I need to get
amazing.
that when it comes to New York City.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Thanks. And then, for all your Ranger fans out there, just one note too. Last year, I got to write a book called Undrafted. Tons of New York stories about 94 in it. And it can be picked up on Amazon, any of your book.coms. Plenty of Ranger stuff in there. Hopefully,
next on my list.
You enjoy it.
Yeah, you're doing it all these days, huh? Radio, everything.
A little bit,
everything.
A little bit busier now than I was ever, but it's been fun. And I'm working on an app too that I'm hoping will come out in September.
Wow,
but,
multi-talented.
I've got a lid on that one, but you guys will be the first to know a little bit more about it in the fall. So make sure you have me back on your show September, and we can get into that a lot more.
You're welcome whenever, Kipper. Seriously, you had to say the word.
Yes, he's an opener.
We know you got a hot date night, so we'll let you go.
Thanks. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the Stanley Cup final, the draft, free agency. It's going to be exciting here, and happy to come back on your show anytime.
Thanks, Kipper. Talk soon.
Kip.
See you guys
later.